Okay, so now we're going to do walkthroughs of each of the rooms and just showing off a couple of details, things that we have upgraded or had to change, things we purchased, things to do, just upgrade the place a little bit. So we're just going to start off with the restroom. One of the big things is all that was here was the sink. There was no storage or anything. I went to an Ace Hardware store and I saw this medicine cabinet. It's like a really good solid plastic. You open it up, it's got some shelves in here, spot for razor, toothbrushes. It's got this bottom section with the, glass sliders for whatever. This whole thing cost, shoot, what was it, 1,300 pesos, like 26 bucks. It came with some 3M tape, big 3M tape strips to secure it to the wall, but I found that, this tile is really good. I cleaned it, but if you feel it, it's not 100% smooth. It's got like a slightly porous feel to it. And I found that after maybe a week or so, the tape would start to come off of this. So pretty much I just went out and got a glue gun and I taped the whole thing to the wall and was pressure applying it so that the tape would set. And then I just put glue, the glue gun, all the way around the whole damn thing. Any of the really ugly spots, I trimmed it down a bit, but it's been holding for over 6 months. Not one spot is showing it's getting weak. So, it works well, looks good. Something that once we move out, the next tenants, they'll have this to sit here and be able to use in the restroom. Color doesn't mismatch too much, but it's okay. One of the other things that we did is mops and stuff. There is no real storage for it, so I got these clamp attachments. The back of it's 3M tape and it's really nice. All you do, pull your item out. When you want to put it back in, press it in and it locks that sumbitch in there. Perfect. It'll hold pretty good. So this is pretty much the same mop as I had back in the US. The reason I like these mops is these heads, they're like cloth, but over time they'll get dirty, they might get a little bit damaged. You can just pop this piece off, and the mop head here, you replace it. You buy packages of replacement heads. It's really good. The mop bucket, get it out here. So, sorry, I got the damn cord in the way. So this is a spin dry. So what you do is when you've got your water in there, you're mopping around, all you got to do is you put your mop inside here like this, and you've got this foot pedal on the side. So as you're pushing this down, that's spin drying your mop. So you get all the nasty out. Then you can go back and start doing your cleaning again. The one difference this mop has for the one I had in the US, this one, if you don't want to use the foot pedal, you've got this little attachment piece here. When you unlock it, the handle comes up. As you're pushing the handle down, kind of like you're churning milk or cream or whatever, that's causing it to do its spin thing. So if you don't want to use the foot pedal for whatever reason, you can use this piece. And it also allows you to extend it to different heights if you want to lock it. But this mop here has definitely been a lifesaver. I'm real big on keeping things clean. And because here in the Philippines and other countries, they don't have carpet. It's just tile everywhere. So you're always wanting to keep it clean, dusted, and mopped. This mop bucket with the mop and a couple extra replacement heads was less than 40 bucks. And it ended up being a very good deal. Something that my fiance had never seen before. And essentially, since I got it, she's fallen in love with it. And then, Scotch-Brite brand broom. As far as the toilet, it's a European toilet, big ass tank, so yeah, that's a lot of fucking water every time you flush. But if you got a big ass shit, you just dropped a huge trucker dump. This will make sure that you ain't got no floaters left behind. So definitely uses up a lot of water, can take a little bit of time to fill up, but it's not too bad. But it's a decent toilet, comfortable. Don't have to worry about buying another seat. One thing that you're going to find though is some of the places you go to live, you might not have an actual shower. Instead, what you're going to be using is some kind of a bucket. And this scoop is called Tabo. Now I'm not going to go into it too much in detail. Mark over at Overstay Road, I'll put a link to his videos. He definitely does a real good job explaining how this works, but if you need to wash your ass after taking a crap, you don't have any toilet paper, you can use that. If you need to take a shower or bath and you don't have a proper functioning shower, you can use that. There have been times when we've been here where our water has been cut off due to service, maintenance, or just shortage. There's been times where we've had to take a shower using that thing. And instead of having a tiny ass little bucket, we went out and bought this huge water bucket that can lock. So we always keep clean water in here. Every once in a while, I'll just dump it, wash it out, and refill it. But it's an emergency water source. Even if you're in that survival mode, no matter where you're at, even if you've got a nice ass condo and stuff, I highly recommend you have one of these water buckets with some emergency water. You never know when you're going to have some kind of a water outage. Obviously, it's not clean enough water for you to be drinking. But if you need to quickly bathe, get some of that stank off, here you go. If you need to flush your toilet, no running water, so you got no water in your toilet, scoop a couple scoops in your toilet to flush it. Okay, so you've always got that extra emergency water in there. But other than that, those are the main improvements that we've done here in the restroom. At some point, I would like to replace that shower head with a little bit newer design. But overall, we're doing all right. It's got a small shelf on the bottom. We put our shampoo and body wash and whatnot. But there's a lot of room here. I'd like to buy some type of a metal storage stand. So, you know, things like the toilet paper and whatnot we can have in here. Normally, I would have thought this is where you would put your washer and dryer. Just makes more sense. There is no drain here. There's no water outlet here for that. The location for the washer and dryer is outside. So over here in the corner, we got a drain, we've got a water outlet, and you got your plug. So this is where you're supposed to put your washer and dryers, outside. Not the most convenient option, but it'll work. So that's where you put your washer and dryer. Moving on into the kitchen. So moving in here, a little bit of a problem because the outlets, wasn't sure how we were going to put everything. We have plenty of cabinet space. Problem is these cabinets are getting old. The hinges aren't sealing properly, so the doors, they don't want to close all the way. And this brown ass paint, it's coming off in spots, but it's plenty of storage area. So you can see here, you've got certain food items. On the other cabinet, got other utensils and stuff. And then over in this section, we have some more dishes and a lot of our cooking items. We cook with the gas. We do not use electric. So we've got the gas tank underneath here, hose leading up from the regulator. So we got a gas burner. This is a decent enough area for it, but you know, when you're wanting to cook, you're going to have to usually have your window open so you don't get a buildup of fumes. This cabinet also has like a shelf thing, so here we keep like different cooking supplies. But one thing that we did get, there's no like pull-out drawers, right? So underneath you've got these open areas, but it just leads into open emptiness underneath. So you got some storage in there, but there's none of the pull-out drawers I'm used to having in the US. So in order to keep my utensils within easy reach, I just went to the hardware store and you buy these screws. It's like a rubber coated hook that you screw in underneath and pretty much I just put a bunch of those underneath so we can hang up a bunch of our cooking utensils, pot holders, mitt. So we got all that stuff set up there. So got everything hanging up well. You get a package that's like, I think it's 6 hooks for 55 pesos. So it's like 6 hooks for a little more than $1. They're not very expensive. They come in all kinds of different sizes. And they're just nice to have in a kitchen. So one thing I definitely recommend is taking a look at that. Another thing, washing dishes. For me in the US, I'm used to having this type of dishwash tool. Keeps the soap in the handle, and when you need it, you've got your little scrubber here. Bought these online. They weren't very expensive. Decent sized sink, and it's got the built-in drainage spot, so after you wash your dishes, they sit here and dry off. I also bought one of these little caddies that kind of hooks over the door, so we can, you know, keep some of our other cleaning supplies for the kitchen underneath there. Garbage cans, obviously in the kitchen, you don't want to be touching the can if you got some nasty shit. It's nice and convenient. Just use your foot to open it up. If you're going to be peeling stuff, push the button, pops open, peel your stuff in there, close when you're done. Nice and simple. Trash can like that, I think cost $400, so like $8, $9. One of our bigger expenses was our refrigerator. When we very first moved in, we spent $15,000, so about $300 on this fridge. Here in the Philippines, a lot of people will consider that being a lot of money, but this one here, it's actually a little bit smaller than the one I had back in the US, but it's LG. It's one of the companies that I recommend more than anything else. This is a smart inverter. It uses very little power for this thing. You got a decent sized refrigerator. So like here, you got a whole entire big old gallon of ice cream. You got plenty of shelves in the door areas. Freezer has its own temperature regulation. Then the fridge itself, you know, you got your egg shelf, shelves for drinks, condiments. You got fruit and vegetable drawer. Nice thing is you can slide this depending on if it's fruit or vegetables. But I mean, it's a decent sized fridge considering 2 people living here. You know, we got leftovers and stuff that we'll carry on the bottom, condiments, drinks, snacks. Plenty of room in here for all of our stuff. And then at the top, you know, we've got things that don't go in the fridge. But it's a decent sized refrigerator, almost, I mean, minimal electric usage. As far as the air cooler goes, when we first moved here, had a fan, got hotter than shit. And this is essentially a portable swamp cooler. So at the bottom section here is the water reservoir. You lift the tray, fill in water till the meter shows it's there, you turn it on. This will pull water up through, you know, the water is coming up through the center of the inside of it. And then it's got little vents that it comes down. It'll come down through here, through these filters. Excuse me. So as the water is coming down through the filters, air is being pulled into the filters. It uses evaporation, and it basically is pulling the air through, and due to evaporation makes air cooler. So it's just a portable swamp cooler. You know, it works if you're in front of it. The only problem with this thing, because it's using evaporation, it is essentially adding or increasing the humidity inside of your living area. In order for it to function, the air coming into it must be less humid than the air it's putting out. So you have to have windows open, keeping a supply of fresh air coming into your building, into your room, whatever, and it increases the humidity inside. So not only do you have the increased humidity from just being open windows with the humid air, but you're increasing it even further because of this cooler. Not really good when you are increasing your humidity too much. Certain foods type to spoil really fast, like breads. If you're not careful, keeping an eye on cleaning things, you can start to see mildew catching and building up in places, and just not a good feeling. But really we didn't do a whole lot yet to this area. The water stand, we just bought that, I think, 13 or 1400, so like 26 or $28 for this thing. You choose your color of finish, you choose the tile style that you want, and different designs. We have 3 jugs, so we got the 3 height. And again, for like 26 bucks, keeping it over here so it's out of direct sunlight. Before we just used to keep them over here. And then, you know, our rice cooker, something everybody should probably be getting. Not only for cooking rice, but this is also good. It's got a steamer tray, so you can use this to steam certain foods. Personally, I like certain things like this. These are frozen Brussels sprouts, imported. I like Brussels sprouts, so I can steam those. I can steam other vegetables. If you have leftover rice, you can steam it to kind of make it fresh again, and just other things you can heat up in there. So we don't have a microwave, so a lot of the foods that we are going to heat up for leftovers, either it gets heated up in the rice cooker using the steamer function, or we'll heat it up in one of our pans and stuff in the stove. But really we haven't done much else as far as improvements and stuff in the kitchen area. The table that we just got, it was like close to 5,000 pesos, so about $100. But it's a 6-foot long folding table, you know, like your typical party tables. Very strong, very good quality, import, very good. So for the price, it's definitely worth it. Now when we have our guests come over and stuff, we have more table area. The other night we just paid, we bought a couple more extra chairs. On the bedroom, again, really didn't do a whole lot. I definitely want to have a normal queen size bed, box spring, you know, what I'm used to. But for now, this was here. We didn't have to pay for it. A new bed's going to cost $400, $500 at least. So this is definitely one of those options that saved us a little bit of money. And it's okay. It's not the best. The headboard part of it is kind of stupid. I mean, you can see there's this lengthy section of headboard. So where your pillow sits, the foot of this thing, it's a foot that sticks up. I'm 5'10". If I lay on here with my feet flat on the bottom of that board, if I'm not careful, top of my head, I'm gonna rack that fucking shelf thing on the headboard. Not a comfortable feeling when you're trying to go to sleep and you know, knock your head on that. I have no clue why in the hell they would put a shelf right where your fucking head goes, but maybe the people that were building and using these weren't very tall. I don't know. It's got a mechanical system underneath that doesn't work anymore, but I mean, overall, it's all right. You can see again the metallic finish, that insulation stuff that we put on the windows. Paid about $50 for the computer desk. It's just some cheapo, made in China, craptastic computer desk and chair, but it's still something decent for her to do her work from home. These wardrobes, a couple of different styles. So this one's just the shelves, and the other ones are pretty much just open for hanging your clothes. Can't really see the lighting in there, but you know, it's just a standard like closet. And then behind the door we've got storage, like that's where we put our laundry baskets. A little bit of storage up on there, but yeah, having these here, they're not the best quality. They're old. I mean, the bed's old, this stuff's old, but they're still usable. And the fact that we can use it without having to go out and spend all kinds of extra money on things, it makes it a little bit easier when you're starting off. When you first move into a place, you're probably not going to have any furniture or anything. First thing you want to look at is like a refrigerator. You're going to want a burner. This single burner that we got, gas burner, was about 500 pesos, like 10 bucks. And it's working really good. In fact, one complaint that I have is it works a little bit too good. This is the lowest setting that it goes. I don't know if you can see that, but I mean, it doesn't take long for it to heat up your food. There is no real like low temperature. That's the lowest it goes, and it gets hot pretty quickly. but you're going to want some kind of a burner to cook your food. The rice cooker, maybe 600-700 peso for this one because it was a nicer one, maybe a little bit more, but it was less than 1,000, so less than 20 bucks, I think. So decent. As far as like pots, pans, spatulas, cookware, silverware, you're going to want all that kind of stuff. Got the wok. The wok was like $7, so not too bad for a decent sized wok. I've used woks all my life pretty much. For me, it's a big deal. And you can see it's a very decent size. So I use that for a lot of my cooking. Regular pots, pans, skillets stuff, just some cheap stuff. We'll get more when we can in the future. But you're going to be needing that kind of things. For food storage, you know, we have some Tupperware, some basic cheap silverware plates and stuff. I buy a lot of Ziploc baggies. You know, I've got different food containers for storage. I'm going to be shipping some proper Rubbermaid and things from the US, but right now this is essentially what we have. You know, when you eat food and your food comes in a plastic container, like for example, show you here. You buy your ice cream. When you're done eating your ice cream, you got a food container. Here that's affectionately referred to as Filipino Tupperware. Now we actually do have real Tupperware. My fiance's now Tupperware distributor, but there is actual real Tupperware. It's not like some cheapo shit. It's real Tupperware, just like you find in the US or elsewhere. You know, it's good stuff. But food storage containers that you get from other items, you can keep that, and they call it Filipino Tupperware. But there's just certain things that we've done to upgrade the place. Our internet, for example, when we first moved in, we couldn't get fiber, so we had to get DSL. The service quality, absolutely horrible through PLDT, not like what it used to be. And we found another place, Globe, just happens to be where I also have my cell service. They were offering fiber, so we went and got their fiber installed, and now when we leave, this house will be pre-wired for both DSL and fiber, depending on which service they choose. But you have both those options available. There's just a lot of stuff that we would like to do, you know, over time to fix this place up. Some of the complaints that I have, these cabinets, they're horrible. You know, if we're going to extend our lease again, I'm going to probably ask the owners to consider replacing these cabinets with some newer ones. If I got to pay for half of it, they can, you know, work a deal out. They can increase my rent a little bit, whatever. But I want to have all these cabinets replaced. The whole countertop area here, you can see, is it's like built-in concrete with tile, whatever. But I mean, this stuff looks like it was built in the 70s. It's old. I'd like to have it replaced. The other thing is, we don't have an air conditioner, as you've noticed. It's because all these concrete walls, with all the windows and everything, for some reason, for the last 30, 40, 50, however long it's been since this place was built, at no time did anybody think about having a cutout to install air conditioners. So whoever has lived here, off and on, never installed air conditioning. The owner will not allow us to cut a hole for a window type air conditioner. And because the windows themselves have burglar bars and stuff installed, he won't allow us to cut those up. Our only option for an air conditioner is the split type, where you have the fan portion inside and then the other big old cooler area thing outside. And you just have to basically, you drill a small hole like that big through the concrete wall where the pipe goes through it. And you got like an air ducting hose that goes through. So up above like this window here, we can install a split type. So the big cooler portion would be here, and then outside would be the, you know, up on the ceiling or whatever, the roof, would be the big fan unit. Problem is, a really good, high strength, high quality window air conditioner at most would cost, I don't know, 200 bucks, $250 at tops here. For the equivalent power of a split type, we're looking at $1,400, 70,000 peso for the size and type of air conditioner we are allowed to install here. It's going to be an LG smart inverter, uses very little electricity, so we can have that thing running 24/7. Problem is the price to purchase and install it, that's a lot of money. I mean, $1,400, way outside of our budget. So that's why we haven't installed one yet, and I don't even know when we would be able to afford it. But that's why we don't have aircon here. If you're going to move into a place, make sure that if it doesn't already have air conditioners there, make sure that you can get them installed. Try and get the owners, like tell them, look, I'll go out and buy the aircon if you install it. If not, you're going to have to deal with alternatives such as fans, air coolers, and what little breeze you might get. So that's pretty much the walkthrough of our place. Not too bad a size, good price. You know, you look at a map, you'll see where the approximate area of where we live. It's not too far from a decent sized city. So we do have a mall, we do have restaurants, we have some of that stuff around here. Depending on traffic, we're 2.5, maybe 3 hours from Metro Manila, just depending on which method you use to get there. But I think distance-wise, we're only like maybe 17 kilometers from Metro Manila, so it's not too bad out here. If you're interested in, you know, hearing some more details about what I think of the place overall, because today actually is the 8-month anniversary of me moving here to the Philippines. Probably later today sometime, I'll record like my 8-month review and feedback on what it's like just being here in the Philippines, as well as what we feel about our house and different issues that we've been having since we moved in here. And you got to remember too, some of these problems are just because COVID, quarantines, etc. Might not be a problem once all this is over with, but hopefully this has been good, useful, even if it's a little bit lengthy couple of videos. If you got any questions, let us know. Send us an email, leave a comment. Definitely appreciate you guys watching. Thanks. So last night, as I'm going through getting ready to edit this video, I realized that I wasn't really giving prices on certain items that I would have liked to. I'm not going to go through all of that all over again. So pretty much what I'm just going to say is, if you're really wanting to get pricing for certain items that are going to be essential to just getting moved in and settled into a place, let me know and I can compile a list of different items that we have that we've purchased, and I can start giving pricing out. So we're talking about things such as different types of fans, air coolers, different dishes, pots and pans, single or two burner, stove burners, the propane tanks, regulators, hoses. We're talking about water containers, utensils, silverware, food storage containers, cooking supplies, any of those kind of things that you're pretty much going to need when you first move in. Other things like your refrigerators. I mentioned that ours was $15,000. There are quite a few that are half that price. You just have a lot of different items that are going to cost different amounts. For beds, you have a lot of different options on what type of a bed you're going to want. Anything from a simple foam mattress that is thrown on the ground and you sleep on that, to your traditional box spring type mattresses that we're used to in the West. There's just a lot of different items that you can buy at all kinds of different prices. Just depends on where you buy them, what style, what your requirements are. So later on, at some point, if enough people are requesting it, I can do breakdowns of those type of items. But a lot of times it more or less is going to just be, you get here, you go to the mall, you go to the grocery stores, you go to the hardware stores. You just look around and see what there is, what you think you're going to need, and you just buy whatever looks good with the price and the quality and things like that. Obviously, some of the essentials you're going to need, though. You're going to need some kind of a sleeping mattress, bed, something like that. You're going to need something to cook your food if you're going to be cooking food. If you're not going to be cooking food, I would still suggest at least getting something like a rice cooker so that you can make reheating your food or making rice for snacks to go along with other meals you purchase, things like that. We do have a rice storage container, keeps bugs or whatever out of your rice. So there's just a lot of different things. You're going to want some kind of silverware, dishes. You could go the plastic forks and knives route. You can go with paper plates, styrofoam cups and bowls, or you can go with the other stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that for doing another video. But if you started seeing things in the videos that you're kind of like, well, how much is that? How much is that? What are your options? Just let me know and I'll try and get responses out. Thanks.